Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Chido, and to all my returning subscribers, hey girl, what's good? What's popping? I missed you, and I know you missed me too. But I'm here now. Another day, another chit chat. Today we're going to talk about identity. This is something that I've been meaning to talk to you guys for a while now. It's something that I just felt on my spirit I need to talk to you guys about. And it was partly inspired by another fellow mutual of mine who spoke about her journey. And I was like, you know what? This is something that a lot of us often go through and we don't talk about it enough. Like, we literally just don't. We just kind of like go through the motions, because sometimes, when you go through things in life, I think especially that are like challenging and unfamiliar territory, where a lot of us like shy away and we just kind of experience things and we don't talk about it. We don't realize that many other people could be going through the exact same thing, and others might just be inspired or helped out if you just spoke about it. So here I am, and let's get into the video of today. Is it me, or am I the only person who just realized that life is absolutely nothing like what we imagined it to be when we were growing up? I mean, like, I'm always laughing because sometimes on social media, people always laugh because they're like, millennials, we've been through it all. We saw technology evolve from like the Nokia 3310 to Motorola, the flip phones, the Samsung, the Motorola, was it a Z? The pink phone, the Razor, exactly. And then there was the Samsung flip phones and all these like technological advances. We went from MP3 players to like the Discman to MP3 players to like iPods to like all of these things. And we went from having to read books on papers to like Kindles to like Audibles. We were there during 9/11. We were there during like most of the wars that have happened in the world. We were there like during 2020 and like a lot of like stuff, like, and for Zimbabweans, we experienced all of it. We like were there. So like we have a lot of like, I don't want to say like trauma, but kind of, sort of. And we've just been kind of like breezing through life without even like experiencing, like without like actually stopping to like see quickly, oh wait, this is actually like life right now. You know what I mean? And we've just been going through the motions, and we were told, go to school, get a degree, get a job, get married, build a family, because that's the right thing to do. That's the one path we're all supposed to take, right? Everybody's supposed to finish high school, get your degree, and then when you get your degree, the minute you have your degree, you'll have a job, and the minute you get a job, you're gonna progress in that same job, and then you'll be able to buy a house, you'll be able to like build a family, you'll get married, everything will be fine. And since we're growing up, I'm 30 years old, and absolutely none of that has worked out in the way they said it would. And it's not even just for me, it's for so many other people. I know like people, like how many of us, like this is a global phenomenon where a lot of us went to school, we have degrees, some of us aren't even using them. People ended up in completely different industries, and everybody's just like, we're all just in a place where we are feeling hoodwinked. And a part of it, I feel, is because we had other people define our identity and our journeys for us. And because our lives are molded by God and He's the one who dictates our steps, now that it's not like working out in the way people told us it would, we're all just kind of extremely discouraged. Life is honestly nothing like I imagined it would be. Growing up, I had all these expectations, and I honestly felt like it would all work out the way they said it would. And when I got to uni, first of all, I was in a class by myself and I was the only black person there, and it was a very difficult experience for me, to say the least. Looking back at it now with like a more mature mind, I can kind of like see how it like molded me and shaped that experience shaped me. But when you're going through it, you can't say that. And so like for me, growing up where you're told to do all these things, and then you grow up, you get sick, you end up with endometriosis, it cripples you to a point where you can't even work. And when you do try to work, you can't stay in a job for more than 6 months because your body literally fights you. And then you're constantly stuck in a place where now you have to take pills 24/7, but you can't cry about it because like, you know, toughen up, you're a woman, mukadzi acheme, mukadzi anosimuka nyangwe kana achirwadziwa, you get up and do the work and this, that, and the third, because that is what they tell you to do, right? So you start to feel bad, so you keep quiet and you take everything in stride, and you start to bottle up all these thoughts and feelings and emotions. You, like, as for men are told don't cry from the time they're little children, and they're told toughen up, that's not what a real man does, boys don't do this, boys are meant to be like this. And all of these things that they say to us, like, over time, gradually they form an identity of us that's completely false, that's not in line with what God wanted for our lives, right? And now as adults, we grow up, and some of us now, we're stuck in a Zimbabwe where everything is broken, and you're trying so hard to like make it work the way they said it would, but you can't. A lot of people are stuck continuously in a place where you have to live with your parents because you can't afford to move out, can't afford to buy a house. A lot of people end up married and they're still kind of dependent on their parents because you can't afford to live on your own. And that's just like the life we've been given, and none of it looks exactly like what they said it would. So you're just kind of like, okay, am I being hoodwinked or what? Then those of us who managed to like go against the grain and leave and go to the diaspora, we get here and none of it is the way you said it would be. It's not like the American dream we were sold, or like the Western dream about how life here is better and how everything is smoother, life is easier. You get here and it feels like it's 20 times harder than it was when you were back home. So now you feel a sense of like confusion. Okay, is it me, or like there's a glitch in the system? Then you start to feel like, okay, maybe I want to go back home, but you can't go back home because home is so broken. But you can't build in this foreign place because this place is also broken, and it's like, it's not like you're not like connecting completely with it. And I feel like for the most part, I do blame the way we were like convinced and programmed to view life and society and adulthood and maturity, because now when reality clashes with the expectations, nothing makes sense. And so it makes me start to ask myself, okay, but Chido, where does your identity come from? Because if I had a solid identity that came from where it was supposed to come from in the first place, which is God, I wouldn't have these type of conversations with myself, with my peers, with anyone, because we would all have an idea. I feel like in this year, as this year is about to start, I feel like we need to start to separate ourselves, set ourselves apart from like the identity that was given to us, the identity that we were convinced is who we are and what we're supposed to do, and to not be ashamed of it. Because a lot of the time, you find now that like a lot of young people are trying to actually chase after their identity, chase after that which like sets their soul on fire, or your purpose. There's like a sort of like guilt that holds you back. There's like a sort of like, I don't know, shame, embarrassment, where you feel like, I've been a lawyer, I studied 10 years to get this law degree, to study for this bar, this, that, and the third, but my heart does not like burn for this. I just feel empty doing this. I want to bake cakes. And if you turned around and told society that you want to leave a 6-figure paying job to go and bake cakes, they'll just look at you and call you crazy. I'd even argue people would discourage you because that's not what you're supposed to do. Even like sometimes we have these conversations with our friends about like some of them who have kids, and Funka and I don't have kids, but when we have kids, about how you're meant to train them and how to help them and guide them as they grow older. And there's like 3 different schools of thoughts. There's some people who believe they'll help them hone their passions, and I've seen it like even as I grow older, I'm starting to notice even with people who have kids, there's like people who, when their kids are into something, whether it's makeup, whether it's filming, whether it's boxing, they will help them. They like support them wholeheartedly. Like they're not defining her identity. They're letting her use the talents and the gifts that she has and like nurturing them. Then on the flip side, you have the traditional African parent who's going to be like, well, you're going to be a doctor and that's on period. Doesn't matter what you feel, doesn't matter what you like, you're going to be a doctor regardless. You're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be an accountant, you're going to be, what's the other one, engineer, you're going to be a scientist, you know, because that's like what the African parent believes, right? The traditional African parent. And in doing so, you start to realize as an adult, because you're like, sometimes giving people an identity isn't always what's best for them, because the one that you see fit in your head isn't what God like gave for them, like had set aside for them, you know what I mean? And so how do we bridge the gap between living a life where you're living your identity for God and living your identity based off of what society, your parents, your family, your friends, social media, and everybody has said is your identity? And I feel like in life we need to, instead of putting all that trust in society and in the culture of this world, we need to be teaching young people to put it in God, because there's like a certain notion where people like to direct other people's paths without having consulted God, or without teaching them how to consult God on what's best for them. And the problem with that is now you've got a generation of people who are so lost and so confused and so broken, and like all this negative stuff is like spiraling out of control. And I feel like it's because a lot of us are living out of purpose, we're living out of our identity, and we're trying to live a life that's not our own, and we're trying to live a life that's not the one God intended for us. And I feel like we need to like be able to just kind of stop the brakes, take a step back, and just kind of like, you know, get back to being the person who God made us to be, who He formed us to be. I don't know if that makes any sense. There is a reason why you're experiencing whatever it is you're experiencing at that certain point in time, instead of holding on to the expectation or the life you were told and fed is yours. Part of the reason why a lot of us are so lost is because we find our identity in things that can easily be stripped away from us, things that, especially in this day and age where it's very difficult to be somebody who has ethics and integrity in a world where it's so broken and it goes against your values, your morals, and everything you've known, where like people define your importance based on your social status, your wealth, your career, your appearance, and the family you come from. So I say all this to say, if you're struggling with your identity, I feel like one of the things you could do for yourself is to just take it back to God and just start at the root of it all, and remember that you're in this world, not of this world. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I hope it made sense. I'm gonna see if it made sense when I'm editing this, but I really hope all of this made sense. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.